Lights.
Camera.
Watch.
Priscilla.
Watch.
Watch.
Of course you're gonna watch it. It's A24.
Of course.
Sofia Coppola, whatever.
Coppola.
It's your homegirl. Why ain't you gonna watch this movie?
I wouldn't say she's my homegirl. This
She's
is
not?
actually the first Sofia Coppola film I've seen.
You've not seen the one that she did with Bill Murray, Lost in Trans.
Never seen it.
You haven't?
No, I tried to watch it this week before we had this conversation. Didn't get around to it.
Why not? You're too cool being out there living life.
Yeah, just a little bit.
So what did you like about this movie?
I thought it was very interesting because did
Okay.
you like Elvis?
Yeah.
Sorry, the Baz Luhrmann film.
So I will say something about that movie. It's a movie you just watch once.
Yeah.
And you will never watch probably ever again. And I am a big music person.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, like, we just want to see the spectacle and the romanticization of an icon, where I feel like that movie was like the ethos or aura of Elvis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the performer, like it was like a superhero. Like there literally was superhero references in that movie. You saw it, right?
Yeah, but I watched it in the theaters and I was like, wow, this is pretty good. And then I watched it again, like when it came to streaming services. I was like, maybe this isn't that good. I just think the relationship between him and his manager is like the least interesting part of Elvis when you've got so much going on.
Oh yeah.
And even this movie, like I thought like just like her life with Elvis was much more interesting than anything about him and his fucking manager.
Oh yeah, and thankfully it was just really about them two.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, to me, when you start the movie, it was very interesting that they start the movie like her life began at like 14 or ever how old she was when she met Elvis. It didn't go back to like her being like a 6-year-old kid in Texas or
no, we know nothing about her before
Yes.
she meets Elvis. It
Yeah.
literally starts with her being picked up at a restaurant by a random man saying, "Do you like Elvis Presley?"
And that's really kind of creepy, where like Elvis has like, yo, go scoop out like hot girls and bring them back to my party.
yeah, go find me young American women and bring them to me.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm going to play devil's advocate in this conversation and be like, Elvis is like, yo, it's like, it's Elvis. You know what I mean?
You're going to play the Elvis was great card?
No, it's just that, like, you know, like many kings, actual kings, the rules did not apply to them.
Yeah.
And it applies to like really popular people of wealth, anybody that Epstein flew into his island. Don't cancel me, FBI, or kill me. But like pretty much like they did ridiculous things. My friend the other day was telling me that apparently the Playboy Mansion has tunnels that led to like 4 houses.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Like, and like, what do you think those tunnels led for? You know?
Yeah.
It's not like, hey, you know, I really want to come over and like hang out and I don't want to drive my car. No, it's like, can you bring over the ladies, drugs, whatever it is. But anyways, it was just really interesting. The movie starts off with this young girl being essentially like recruited by a military guy to bring in like pretty girls to Elvis's party.
See the man himself.
The man himself. It was just interesting to see Elvis being introduced as like a regular guy at a party.
Yeah, he's just sitting there on the couch, like weirdly interested in talking to her, even though he's surrounded by a bunch of people.
Adults. And I think maybe because they already realize who he is. And he's like, look, maybe I get to start fresh with this fresh piece of meat. Quotes.
Okay.
And I get to establish how I want to be presented to this person.
Did you like Jacob Elordi as Elvis?
Of course.
Yeah, I thought he did a really good job. I feel like there's a lot of like weird internet hate for him playing this, which I think is really undeserved.
Look, he has, I don't know, carved out like his, I don't know, like his role. You know, like there's actors like, this is my niche.
Yeah.
He plays the really, 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 really good looking guy that's a piece of shit.
He's like, I'm phenomenal at looking great and being an absolute dickhead.
And it's
Cast
like,
me.
and it's like, I will still sleep with you, even though you slept with my sister and my entire like friends.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was great. I thought low-key he was better than Austin Butler. But I think the fact that he didn't have to like sing and everything really helped him because I don't know.
Well, I don't know. You know what the thing too is? It's like, I don't know anything about their preparation or his preparation. I just know that Austin Butler basically
dedicated his life to being Elvis.
Like, I can't stop speaking
and
like
then
that.
He was on a talk show or something, and he was like, I learned about Elvis from Lilo and Stitch.
And he literally is like, I give like 0. And like, I am just gonna be.
Just showed up.
I'm just show up. What are my lines?
Do the job.
Do I have to just speak like in a southern accent? And like, you got it.
Well, I thought he sounded like Elvis. I thought he looked like Elvis.
I agree. I mean, like
and I think his height is so like helpful in just presenting like the power he had over this small woman.
You're so right. You're so
the fact
smart.
That she's
power dynamic.
So small and he's so big, just like really emphasizes like that is a child. What do you think the age difference between the actors are?
I don't think they're too far apart.
1 year.
Oh,
he's 1 year older than her, and she looks like a child in the beginning of this movie.
But let me say one thing. That is the kudos to the makeup.
Oh, definitely.
Departments and the costumes, all those people.
Because like when it's happening, like when they first get together in the beginning, it is like that is a child.
When I saw her. And I saw her at the end. There was a moment in the movie, I thought there were 2 different people.
Oh, really?
I really didn't think there was just the same. I went online to confirm it was 2 different people.
Yeah.
But I'm like, the girl you see that just like has like, I think a choker and stuff like that, like a little cute outfit. And the woman that at the end, it's like, I'm like, who are these people? I'm like, I swear I didn't recognize them. I didn't know. There was like a full transformation, need to say, you know?
He's 25 and she's 24, but like she pulls off a great 14-year-old.
Yeah. I mean, it's just interesting how the movie starts. Like he basically like recruits her after like one date and stuff like that, and kind of like disappears if I'm not mistaken. And then after a while, like
he loses his mom.
Yeah.
And he wants a woman at the house worrying about him.
Yeah.
He wants someone to be there that he can complain to and be there when he needs her, but he doesn't actually want like a partner. He wants to be Elvis. He wants to be out in the world. He wants to have all the affairs and do all the movies and be the biggest star. But when he comes home, he wants there to be like a lady there who cares about him.
Yeah.
And that's like her death sentence pretty much, is to sit alone in this big mansion.
Yeah.
Away from her family, away from everything, and realize that she can't get out of this.
Yeah.
But also doesn't really want to, and is just doomed to be in Graceland.
Because it's sort of like the golden prison, you know, a golden prison that's a palace or whatever it is. Because like we have to put it into perspective, like the time frame. Like this is taking place a long time ago where people rarely like divorced. I mean, they did, you know what I mean? But like, you're going to divorce Elvis? Like, you're going to divorce like the biggest recognizable human being that possibly walked the earth.
When you pretty much like gave up your life to do this.
Yeah. And the thing too is like, there would be, I don't know how many people standing in line to take your place.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like either you do or you don't, because for the rest of your life, like think about like, imagine if like, I don't know who's really popular, but like for me, it's like, I don't know, if Ryan Gosling says like, hey, you want to come hang out with me?
He's a long time married, but yes.
No, I'm just saying not date, but just hang out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, yeah, I want to hang out with you. You seem like you're super cool and like down to earth. I want to hang out with Ryan. And if like my parents said no, I'm like, why, Mom?
It's
like
literally Ryan Gosling.
I know it's not Michael Jackson, you know, but like the parents too, and their time frame.
It's like still unacceptable, but it's a different time.
You know, there are places like, you know what the thing too is, who is the decider of like when people are supposed to get married?
Yeah.
And not get married, because our species, like literally like 500 years ago, like died at the age of like 40.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So literally you had to reproduce when you're like freaking 16 to like survive. I don't know. I'm not an anthropologist. That is just my random guess of knowledge that I've put together. But I'm like, yo, if you didn't do it like early on, like we would not exist. Because I don't think 2,000 years ago there was people in their 80s like trying to. So, but the parents, I just think to my parents, I'm like, yo, my kid's not really that bright at school. It's Elvis. He's got money. Like
the only thing we learn about her is that like she has friends back home. She talks to nobody here. She doesn't really care about her schoolwork.
Mm-hmm.
She's invited to Elvis's house from then on. Like, the only thing in her life that matters is Elvis. And if you're a parent, you're like, yeah, this is a 14-year-old girl. Elvis seems nice and all, but it's like, that's my 14-year-old daughter you're trying to take away from me. But at the end of the day, it's like, she's not going to be happy if this doesn't happen because she's already miserable.
She will hate you. It's like, you cost me Elvis.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, but at least you'll end up with money.
It's just like wild that they weren't like, you have to finish school first. Like, the fact that she went to him before she finished school is like what the crazy thing is. To be like, okay, finish school and then you go do Elvis is like totally fine.
It's like a weird kind of custody thing. You know what I mean? Like, she was like under the supervision, like her parents, to finish school. And then it's like, yo, I'm Elvis, Mr. Guy. I'll make sure she goes to the best Catholic school ever and finish school. Where I just don't get, like, where Elvis could have just been like, yo, here's like $10,000, she graduates and we're just partying.
Yep.
And it was just interesting how quickly, and I don't know if this was like shots towards Elvis and like his image, how quickly he was either like I guess the word grooming is so like used now, but like introducing her to drugs.
Yeah.
You know, like Elvis was literally like doing drugs like immediately when you met him, whereas in the other movie it later on comes in his life.
Well, the other movie like tries to keep all of the negative things about Elvis like so far away from being Elvis's fault, and it's really like glorifying Elvis. Not that he's not like the king and all that stuff. It's really like, how can we put this man on a pedestal, while this is like the complete opposite. It's like, no, well, like at the end of the day, like he groomed a child and he was a drug addict and he was a cheater,
abusive,
and he's abusive and like really not that great of a guy. But at the same time, like, yeah, he did have a shit manager controlling him. Yeah, he did lose his family. Yeah, he did have to tour and work and nonstop. So it's almost like I want to film in between the two.
Oh yeah.
And I know that there's been a bunch of Elvis stuff and all this stuff. Not that we need another Elvis movie, but like more of a balance between like the man he actually was and the like what he showed the world would be like the most interesting.
Yeah.
But out of the two comparisons, like just the fact that like even though Priscilla is like a very quiet movie where she's like a woman in a house by herself, and the movie is very much just like you watching her be alone, I still found it like more interesting.
Yeah, I kind of want to bring this like example to like modern times where it's sort of like, let's view Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake, right?
Yeah.
Like Justin Timberlake was on like, when they were together, the it couple, everybody was big. Justin was like the biggest thing, and like when their relationship broke up, like I kind of everybody.
But they were both stars.
They were both stars, but I want to view it in the context of like how easily like everybody chose a side. You know, everybody chose like Justin's side. Years later, now we realize Justin's maybe a piece of shit, and then like everyone's hating on Justin right now.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like the two movies that came out, it's like, oh, Elvis is this really cool guy. And then all of a sudden we bring out this movie, it's like Elvis is pretty shit. And it's sort of like, where are you in this situation? Like, are you this good guy or bad guy? But I always want to take a moment and realize human beings were not designed to be propelled at that level of like attention, money. Like they had no life. Because if you notice, anytime they did anything, they had to close it down. Oh yeah. Like they had to like reserve it, and like
especially in that times, because like in like the early 2000s and all that, like paparazzi and shit were like, there were no rules. It was like the Wild West. Like they would just like chase you down. Like they still do now, but I feel like now it's like calmed down more, and there's still like a little bit more boundaries, even though people are still gonna be assholes. But like in their time of fame, it was like there is nothing that is escaping you and your fame.
Yeah. And I feel like you have to put into context like this guy who became Elvis. He went to the military, but before he went to the military, he was the king. He was already dubbed the king, and he was the most popular guy ever. And like he literally didn't have like a sense of privacy. His entire goal was to like make music. He was like constantly like anything he did was like scrutinized or like the best thing ever. And he never got to really be like a normal human being. It's like every major.
What do you mean he gets to hang with his boys?
E, come over here, E. I was funny. Like when they called him E, I was just like kind of like weirded out. I felt like there's a more of like a modern thing, you know?
I like when he calls her Scylla.
Scylla? But to me, I was just like always thinking to myself, if I was propelled to that level of like attention and fame, like I'm gonna be doing like horrible things. Like I just view like just as a history major, just reading back on every king, like just actual kings, they did horrible stuff.
They had what else are they gonna do?
They all did this thing. So if you like crown this guy as a king, what's he like? He can't live like a normal guy. So like he's gonna behave irrationally, and all of his horrible vices are gonna be propelled.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I didn't see him like beat Priscilla ever in the movie.
No,
but, like,
he's like emotionally abusive.
Oh, 100%, or like psychologically abusive.
He does throw a chair at her at one point, but
that was like that was like a really weird moment.
That was weird. It was.
Yeah.
It felt odd, but
yeah.
Granted, like I know it's based on her memoir.
Yeah.
I haven't read her memoir.
We're not gonna read
her memoir. So like, but like honestly, if you told me that like he really did throw a chair at her head, like I'd believe it.
Yeah, but like to me, it's like those moments of like it kind of reminds me. We recently just watched like Anatomy of a Fall, right? Where we're getting parts from like both sides, and like who's really the bad guy? You know what I mean? Like we hear these things, but it's like, who's the bad guy in all of this, you know? And who's still there? Who's enabling them? Who's controlling? Because sometimes there are people that come into like people of power's lives and they control them like aggressively. My example that I'm going to use is, I think with John Legend.
What about John Legend?
The Beatle guy, John
Lennon.
John Legend.
Well,
yes, sorry. But I'm assuming almost the same thing, John Legend. But like Yoko Ono apparently just came in, like took over, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just grasping on like random pieces of information.
The Beatles fans are gonna eat you up.
Eat me up, bro. But it's like, it could be anyone from like Napoleon. Napoleon was like the emperor of France and a giant part of Europe. But like he was always like a bitch, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like Will Smith, and what Will Smith is going through right now, you know what I mean? Jada Pinkett Smith is not some iconic actress and stuff like that.
She's chaos.
She's pure chaos. But I'm like, there has been women that have come into people's lives and completely spun their webs. But I think it's very different when you're some like wholesome girl from literally from Texas that has known nothing in her life, and you got propelled into this situation.
No, it's the question of like, is Elvis the bad guy, or like are the things that are happening to Elvis what made him the bad guy? And that doesn't really like.
I think if you gave drugs and alcohol and amounts of money and fame and like zero like you can do whatever you want, everybody will be a bad guy.
Oh yeah.
There's very few people. I don't know if there's any people that is gonna be a good guy. I'd probably be a bad guy.
You're like, I definitely would be a bad guy.
I mean, it's like to say like when you give someone like GTA and it's like, hey, go play GTA. They're not going to go stop the bad guys with the cops. They're going to go rob people, pick up hookers, sell drugs.
Well, that's how you play the game.
Well, I guess that's what happens when you become a rock star.
Were you bothered by the fact that there was no Elvis music in this?
I think, one, they probably couldn't get licensing for it.
Unlike the Elvis movie, like the Elvis estate very much did not work with this production.
Okay, so
they were not allowed to use the Elvis music, but I think it worked in its favor.
I think it's smart to use music, and I'm assuming they're all music from the time.
It's not. It's mostly like tone music. A lot of that stuff. Yeah, it's not really like time accurate, but I think like the mood is accurate.
Okay. The only song I can't remember any songs, but the one song I remember at the end
is awesome. I think the ending is very good.
Yeah, the Dolly Parton song, which Elvis was supposed to record that, but then if he gave that to Elvis would have probably hit a grand slam, just like how Whitney Houston did.
Elvis wanted to own half of the song because he wanted to cover it and own half the song, and Dolly Parton said, "You're not owning half the song," and so Elvis did not cover the song. So the fact that they use it to portray like.
Are we talking about the end right now?
Yeah.
Okay, do it.
So it ends at Graceland. Ends the day she leaves Elvis.
Uh-huh.
She packs up her things, leaves for the last time in her car, and I Will Always Love You by Dolly Parton plays, which just from the meaning of like it could never have been Elvis's song, just to like the actual like Priscilla was not really had an individual life before this man, is gonna forever be known as the woman who married Elvis, is always gonna be with him, and nothing is really gonna be too separated from him. Like just the I Will Always Love You is like the perfect note to end on this. And I mean, she's given up her life with Elvis to be the one who had that life with Elvis forever, pretty much.
I want to highlight some stuff that I really enjoyed just watching or just seeing visuals. Just like Elvis being degaffed, like at his wedding. You know, like the photos, he's just smoking.
Yeah.
He's just smoking and then people are taking pictures. God knows if he's on any drugs. Or like when they're having photo shoots with the family and he just like has a cane out there.
Those are two like really iconic pictures of Elvis that exist that they've like recreated perfectly.
I just love like silliness like that. It's just like good. Like we just have pop culture and like let's embrace it.
You sit in a throne with your cane and have your family sit across your lap, sir.
Yeah, that's pretty much what like kings look like when they got painted and stuff. But I want to also highlight that they had a lot of good times. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think this was all like horrible stuff for Priscilla. There was moments that like they were having a blast.
No, it's not like a why is this woman with him when he's such a monster kind of moment. It's like not only is he Elvis out there, like he seems to have a lot of like love and care in his heart for her and for a simpler life. And when they are together, it seems magic. But then he leaves. Mm-hmm. And when he leaves, who knows what he's doing?
Everybody.
And as the years go on, like, it gets worse and worse. And she's just literally, like, locked in a prison.
Yeah, it was just weird to me, like, speaking of, like, things he was doing. But, like, let's talk about, like, the elephant in the room. Like, the weird stuff. Like, he's all like, no, we can't have sex yet. We gotta wait till but we can do other stuff. I'm like... Like, it's just like...
Because he also kind of thinks it's weird she's so young. And he wants her to dye her hair and wear it up and wear darker makeup to kind of, like, make her look more like a grown woman.
Yeah,
and
it's like...
He just kind of wants her to be his, like, little pet at home.
Yeah, like, just as, like, I just need you to be pristine.
Well, he, like, fucks Nancy Sinatra.
Yeah, like, good. You know, what can I say, you know? Like, God knows what Frank Sinatra...
I mean, it's, like, it's a better version of the story that, like, he wouldn't sleep with her.
I know, thankfully. Imagine if they put that in. Like, imagine if she knew she's, like, writing this memoirs, be like, oh, damn, we did have sex really early on. And he's like, I shouldn't put this in there.
He's like, no, he wouldn't have sex with me. Which is, like, honestly, now that the history's being told, like, as much as it was weird that, like, she was 14, like, he had some boundaries, I guess.
Yeah, I need you to be at least 18 somewhere.
He was probably 16, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. But you know what's really funny is like the moments that I think they had sex and then afterwards it's like, yo, I'm a woman. I want to have sex right now. I'm in lingerie and you're just reading a hippie book. Like what? Like what are you doing? Like look,
and then it cuts to the manager being like, you gotta quit these books, and they burn them.
But that was hilarious.
That was really funny.
This is like a funny movie that just showed like how easily this guy was like influenced in certain ways.
Yeah.
Like, and that happens to a lot of celebrities, whether they have like...
But, like, her opinion doesn't matter. Like, he doesn't really matter what she has to say, but the second she's like, hey, I don't like what these books are doing to you, shut up. His manager is like, yo, you gotta ditch the books. He's like, say less.
Yeah, because I think at that moment was like, it's fucking with our money.
Yeah. It's
like, you want money, I need money. Like, stop fucking around and reading these books. But it was just weird. And, like... What was that one moment too when I think they were in like LA when Elvis is like
he's like preaching to the room of girls.
Oh my god, like he's preaching and then like he's like I forget what the quote was.
No idea.
Yeah, no idea.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's reading from the Bible or what he's reading from, but it's weird.
And then he just leaves. But you know, I just love the silly moments of like Elvis getting Priscilla a gun that matches every one of her outfits. Like, and they go shooting, and it just to me like it seems like he was so many things, like as Elvis, but also Priscilla was like so many. She could have been so many things as well too.
Yeah,
it's just you're under this burden, this giant shadow that you can't crawl out of. Because what do you do in that situation? Because you wanted to go with Elvis, you wanted to marry this guy.
She put herself here, and now she's living with her consequences.
And it was just funny, like how she would just walk in and be like, "There's nothing here." Like when he's gone, there's nothing.
Yeah.
All I got is this dog. It was kind of like...
And later, she's basically a single mother.
Yeah. But she has tons of money.
Yeah.
And she's set for life, which is far than what other people can say for themselves. Mm-hmm. And she's probably lived an existence that, like far few people could do. It was just very sad to me that I thought that even though Elvis was in Germany, I just thought imagine if he was able to, like, travel the world, you know?
Yeah.
Imagine the chaos. Like, he went to Japan... China.
Well, he's historically couldn't travel the world.
Yeah, because of his contract.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying, like, wow, what could have life have been like? You know, like that. Sometimes, like, I see like celebrities right now that were from a young age propelled and became the biggest things, like Justin Bieber. Like, I love Biebs. I love him. And I'm happy, like, I hope he's in a good place and he just doesn't end up like an Elvis or like a Michael Jackson or anything like that.
No, he's already lived past his fame like that. Elvis was like so unique because at that point he's just like now there are so many famous people.
Yes.
And so many ways that you can get attention and you can get like eyes on you. While then it was like there were so few people breaking to the top and he was at like the top of the top.
Yeah.
Like he was a worldwide star, even though he didn't travel the world. But like it followed his life, like the Elvis like comeback special. That went like not just to the U.S. right? That went everywhere.
Everywhere. It was humongous. But I'm just saying, like, how Elvis had like this young face, then he went to the military, and then he was kind of like underground for a little bit and stuff like that.
Did some B movies.
Yeah, and all that blah blah blah. And then he did his special. Then he came back up again.
And then it's like the Vegas residency era.
Yes. I just kind of feel like Bieber has an opportunity to do that comeback special and just be, I'm Justin Bieber, everybody, if you all fucking forgot.
Again, I don't think it's that easy because he's not like the tippity at the top. But Bieber's still like on tour and stuff. He's not
he?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not in the world.
He's still like releasing albums and doing whatever he does.
For you forget, millennial. What are you guys? Gen
Z.
Gen Z. Do you guys hate that term?
I don't think we get to pick it. Do you hate millennial?
I thought it was kind of cool because we're in the millennium, we're 2000s, and we're like, but whatever. You know
we're
what I mean?
the end, but then you got A. Anyway.
Yeah. Would you ever watch this movie again?
Priscilla? Yeah, I'm going again next week.
I'm never watching it again.
That's your choice.
I liked really weird things about this movie where she like, and not to be like Quentin Tarantino, but I just like the beginning of the movie where it's just like someone's toes.
You like the feet? You like the little feet, John?
Don't say it like so creepy. I just thought like a weird way to start a movie. You know, like Priscilla, let's put in some toes in the beginning.
I think it's supposed to be like, this is going to be an intimate portrayal of a woman. Is what it's like going with there.
It was just kind of funny because like, I don't know how many houses have carpets anymore. Like, I don't know.
Shag carpets.
Yeah, it was just kind of like a time
the
era.
70s.
Yeah, it's just like, yo, this is where it's like, let's transport us. Like, who has carpet anymore? I don't know, people in Canada. Anyhow, but it was just like, there was just like a lot of weird things that I liked about the movie. Like, they would like do go-karts, like they would have like dinner, like grandma was there, and then the other lady, like, what's it called? Like, she met like the people that work for Elvis's company, and like they were all like showing her like letters, and like people would send underwear. I just thought it was funny, you know what I mean? Like, she like saw all this, and all that business was happening in the house. And that's just like a little peek of probably what she was really hearing and experiencing.
But she could be involved.
Yeah, she couldn't. No, she's not staff. But what I really liked is later on when she basically started living her own life. She went to LA, picked up karate. I think might have been sleeping with her instructor.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's legit or not, but
I think I read something that she did cheat on Elvis with like a dance instructor and then like had like an emotional relationship with the karate instructor.
good for her.
Yeah.
Good for her.
And it was confirmed he cheated on her, so it's like they're just like together at this point, but not together.
Elvis banged everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised he doesn't have like bastard kids all over the place.
He might, honestly.
Like, imagine, like he has like bastard kids. Imagine like some kid just all of a sudden growing up and just sounding just like Elvis, looking like Elvis, and they do a DNA.
It is sad that like his sole child has already passed.
But he has grandchildren.
Yes, one of them has passed.
A grandchild has passed too?
Yeah.
How many kids are left?
One.
Fuck.
She's the sole inheritor of Graceland.
Man.
Tough life for Priscilla. Her husband died. Her daughter died. Her grandchild died.
Like, it just, I don't know how that lifestyle exists, but like if I literally had all that wealth, I'd just be like eating the best food, having a personal trainer.
Yeah, hopefully she's like trying to do the best with what she's got now.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. But going back, I really like when it just started showing her like living her own life in LA, just like doing the stuff she wanted to do while Elvis was just like performing. I did like the montage of like him doing all these things.
Yeah.
It was just kind of silly.
I like that too. Especially, I don't remember what song was playing, but I thought it was fitting for that moment. Or like she's in the audience that night, but it's like doesn't really like acknowledge the fact that like she's there to see Elvis. She's just like having drinks with the girls, and it just happens to be at Elvis's show.
Oh, speaking of drinks, I love that moment where she went to Vegas for the first time, and she was just like hanging out, and they're just gambling, and they're partying.
Taking pills.
Yeah, just taking pills and stuff like that. I also thought it was really funny that like she was in like high school.
Yeah.
And like she wasn't popular and she didn't talk to anybody. Whereas I feel like if it was more modern days now, like everybody would try to be her friend, or they would try to.
No,
be
they're like, who the fuck is that? Like,
yeah, like that basic AF girl is like married to Elvis or dating Elvis. That's what they were probably thinking.
I like the moment where she comes back from Vegas and looks at her family, and her hair is like messed up, and her eyes are like raccoon eyes, and she's like, "What are you looking at?"
That was just kind of like, girl, you didn't stop for a moment and fix yourself. Like I've seen girls like stop every moment and like touch themselves up or do something like that. But like if
it's
you
a
go
different time.
Yeah, but if you went ham, you would still like.
She was drugged up in Vegas one night, flew across the country. Now she's here.
Yeah, but like I probably would never watch this movie again. I wouldn't, because I've already seen it, and I don't know why I would watch it for.
That's true. I mean, it's not like there's so much more to unpack from this. It's just like it's a good time, and my roommate wants to see it, so like I'm gonna give it another go, because it's not a movie that it's like, I don't need to see it again. Yeah, it's like I would see it again.
You should tell me like how it felt the second time when you watched it.
Yeah.
Like did it feel like, oh, I saw that part and like, oh my god, it was like, oh, more did I think about it.
I'd be more interested to see like what stands out to me the second time.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it just like the moments that just stands out to me is like when Elvis is just like dumb. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like he's just like talking to Priscilla and like is on the phone, is like, oh, I'll call for you. He just say stuff like that. It's so stupid. Like, you know, like this poor girl is gonna wait for the call. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, Priscilla, I need you to blah 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 blah.
Don't be shy. Do the Elvis accent.
I just thought he was sometimes like stupid. You know what I mean? It's like he was just like, did anyone really pay attention to what this guy just said? I really like the moments where they just stayed in bed and like ate food.
Yeah, for like days on days.
Yeah, there's like we're just staying in the room just watching
He's
TV.
finally home.
And the thing too is like they magically maintain immaculate bodies, but I guess they're all on cocaine, and that's why they
get drugs.
Yes, and they're all eating like real food back then.
Yeah,
none of this artificial MGO and high corn fruit syrup.
Delicious packages.
Of what? Garbage. By the way, this episode is sponsored by McDonald's and the new sauces. No, it's not. I don't know, man, but I'm happy that she made this movie.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
I like the fact that this is part of her like filmography. If that's the term. She's done some really good movies.
I'm gonna go back and watch the hits.
Are you?
Yeah.
Of hers? Mm-hmm. Are we gonna have like a Sofia?
We could do a Sofia Coppola episode.
Like of like the top 10 movies.
I don't think she has 10.
Okay, 5. Top 5 movies. I'm sure this is probably on the list.
Definitely.
So do you think Greta is a better director than her?
I think Greta is the best.
Really?
And I would compare her to no one.
Really? She's a star in her own solar system?
She is just so fresh on the scene and killing it already.
So, I feel like we're done with this movie.
Yeah.
Are you watching anything interesting right now?
Literally no.
Okay.
This is like the least I've watched anything for like the whole year is this month.
So I just think the state of film and television is still going strong.
It's so good right now.
It's still going strong.
This month is so good.
I just finished watching Blue-Eyed Samurai.
What is that?
It was on Netflix. It was an anime, but it's like it was written by the director and writers or whatever of Blade Runner 2049. Have you seen Blade Runner 2049?
No. Deep exhale.
You've not. Like literally, it's like every
Is that
Ryan.
the one with Harrison Ford?
He is, of course, he's with the one, but it's also the one with Ryan Gosling. It's basically all the memes of him and Anna the blah blah blah. You know what it means? It's like, oh, you look like
Anna the blah blah blah.
Can you pronounce?
Anna de Armas?
Yes, thank you. Look, man, I can't pronounce things. I'm not gonna pretend like I can. I don't even think I know how to.
I'm not gonna pretend like I know who I'm talking about.
I just tell people all the time that I never learned how to read. I just memorized how words look like. So that's why when people say like, "Can you read this?" I'm like, no, I don't know. No. Unless that's why I'm never gonna say Sofia Coppola, Priscilla A24. But
you crushed that.
I know I did.
That's sight reading.
That's like caught me on the spot right there. But I would say that the stage of television and film is still, even with the strike, I'm like,
we're gonna have a lull because of the strikes, but all the stuff that came out before, it was like finally after COVID and stuff, we are getting back on like.
You think Wonka's gonna do good?
Why you gotta do that one?
I just gotta bring up.
Is it gonna do good? What does that mean? Like, good perform? Like, do you think it's gonna perform well, or do you think the film's gonna be good?
I think it's gonna be trash.
I think it's gonna be a fun time.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's gonna be like cinema. I think I'm gonna walk in and I'm gonna have a blast.
I have to say, I watched the Marvels last night. The energy was like popping. And like, you know, anytime
the energy of the movie or the crowd?
The crowd. Like, there was moments that I just sometimes feel like people need to like understand this. Don't applaud. Don't try to applaud like when something happens. We want to hear dialogue. You know, when people cheer and do all this stuff. Like, it's like,
I don't think anyone's cheering for the Marvels.
I've been to the what's it called? TLC, Man Chinese Theater.
Yeah.
And like, I watched Doctor Strange in the Madness Universe, whatever it's called, and literally anytime something happened, everyone cheered and screamed, and you could not hear the dialogue for the next 3 seconds.
I kind of like that though. I like the.
No, I love the energy. I love the energy. Bring on the energy, because I feel like the cinema needs the energy. Yeah, we really want people to come back, and I feel like movies are not dying. I feel like people are watching more and more movies in real life. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what's going on. Buy some AMC stock to the moon, diamond hands. But like, I would just really want to shout out that Blue Eyed Samurai. We need to talk about it. You need to watch it. It's 8 episodes.
Okay.
It's fantastic. They just dropped the Avatar trailer for Netflix.
The live action one?
Yes. Have you seen the cartoon?
Yeah, of course. And if they're going to mess it up again, don't do it.
They're not. The trailer looked too good.
Okay.
They didn't fuck up One Piece.
I think they're too scared to mess this one up now.
Oh, they know the backlash that M. Night Shyamalan caused, and they're not gonna do it. Like, but you know what's interesting? Like, he's stayed true to the story, but it just didn't make sense.
Just really bad.
And it's kind of sad that it's like there's Avatar, The Last Airbender, but every time you say Avatar, I think of The Last Airbender. But if you tell other people Avatar is like the James Cameron movie with the blue people, no man, it's Aang.
Bring back the OGs.
Yeah, Avatar. Anyhow, Avatar's coming out. What else is coming out?
Dude, so much.
What?
It's a movie season. The good stuff.
Yeah, Napoleon's coming out.
Napoleon's coming out.
Yes. The Killer we're going to watch tonight.
The Killer.
We're going to review that.
That Nicolas Cage movie. That's out.
It's already out?
Saltburn. That's out.
With your boy.
Which my boy? My boy's Barry Keoghan, okay?
Who's Barry Keoghan?
Not Jacob Elordi. The other guy.
Who's Barry Keoghan?
He's an actor. He's in Saltburn.
Oh, he's the other dude that he was also in like the Banshee movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my guy.
That's your dude?
I love him.
Okay.
What else is Poor Things is next month, but I'm excited for it.
Yes.
He got robbed of Dune, man. I'm still not over it.
Yeah, Timothée Chalamet must make sure Wonka comes out with no interference.
Devastating.
It is. I think that's
he's gonna sing in Wonka. I'm excited.
Are you serious?
It's a musical. How is he not?
He doesn't sound like a singer.
I don't care. Give me singing and dancing Timothée Chalamet. I will go see it 3 times.
The only singing and dancing that I wanted was when he did the SNL skit.
He's on SNL tomorrow night.
Is he?
Yeah, he's hosting tomorrow night.
Wow.
Like king.
I wonder if his baby...
Like a king!
I wonder if his baby mama, girlfriend, whatever she is going to show up. You know?
I would be upset.
Really?
I don't care. I don't care about the Kardashians.
She's a Jenner.
Okay, what's the difference?
Oh, I can tell you a lot. You know, anyhow, I think that kind of wraps up Pop Culture Corner. Yeah. Or what's happening in the world of cinema. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.